is, I think, in these difficult times that we have to overcome our difficulties by shouldering additional responsibility, both as an individual and as a member of a larger society. So that is why we have chosen this topic for today, COVID-19 and our responsibility, how we should behave without pressing the panic button, how we can go on to serve the society. As everyone already knows that Dr. Chaudhury is presently the professor and head of the Department of Hepatology, School of Digestive and Liver Diseases, IPGMER. He's the co-founder of the Indian Institute of Liver and Digestive Sciences, Shonarpur, the convener of the Global Advisory Committee against COVID-19 from the government of West Bengal. And I'm so grateful to him that he has been kind enough to grant us time, and we are eagerly waiting for his speech. I would like all the audience to listen to what he has to say. Here is a gentleman who is leading us in a fight against an unknown disease. And if I may just borrow one of his terms, which I have heard so many times during his discourses on television, which he said in Bengali, and I remember he said, it is not something that we are inviting the tiger into our house, but at the same time, we need precautions, we need to adjust ourselves to a very changing scenario. And I have gone carefully through Sir's Institute of Liver and Digestive Sciences, the journey of ILDS. If you have gone through that, a wonderful message from Dr. Abhijit Chaudhury, sir, where he says, change the mindset that things can happen here. I think that is a wonderful message for all of us, that here we need self-confidence, we need to progress, we need to live in a society where these things are going to happen, but perhaps we can overcome that. So as I said, sir is extremely busy person. We are eagerly waiting to hear from sir. Over to you, sir. We are all nearly 500 participants of JIS Group. As you know, sir, JIS Group is one of the largest groups of educational conglomerate of Eastern India. It has under its ambit hotel management, pharmaceutical colleges, as well as engineering colleges and one dental college. And sir, perhaps you would be happy to note that also in this difficult COVID times at GNIDSR Panihati, we have been continuing to render outpatient services to the poorest of the poor with the support of our management. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. I've been disturbing you a lot, and I have been gracious enough, sir has been gracious enough that sir has responded to one email of mine accepting this request from the JIS Group to conduct a webinar. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you for the compliments, and let me tell you that I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Grateful, and I don't have many words to express how happy I am in getting a chance to talk to you for many reasons. One is my association with my dialogue with the JIS Group is really not only today. Mr. Singh and the entire Singh family and myself had been in touch for quite a long time. So at a very personal level and at a professional level. And apart beyond that, let me tell you that as some of you whom I know and we keep on interacting would be knowing that we keep on doing a lot of socially focused activities. And whenever we take a social endeavor, and most of these are not in the usual ambit of things, like when Amphan hit West Bengal, we started an endeavor named Niranno Grihohin, and we were looking for people, philanthropic people who would come forward and support us. And one of the persons that I immediately thought of is Mr. Taranjit Singh. And let me tell you that the response was more vigorous than my appeal to him was. And that is how, to me, JIS Group's involvement in the state's education, state's other things, really is, I understand the way they think about society and entrepreneurship and overall how to get involved in things. And you mentioned of another person who is possibly joined today, whom I know as my elder brother and whom I rate as one of the persons I look forward to get advice to get guidance from. His name is Professor Ajay Roy. And the great person that he is, and the very fact that he is associated with JIS Groups also brings a different variety of academic fervor and flavor to the entire group. And apart from all of you, in fact, Professor Bhattacharya had been very emphatic and putting forth many requests. Obviously, right now I'm deeply plunged into COVID fight, and in fact, despite the COVID involvement that I have and many of you have, and let me tell you that I'm basically a volunteer, despite the many decorations that some of us are bestowed with, and I'm really blessed that I have got many responsibilities. Beyond that, I always keep on telling that I'm primarily an activist and a volunteer who is trying to do whatever I can to get the state, to get the country, to get the country's people into a sort of lesser distressful circumstances than what we all of are. And I'm sure you, all of you who are listening today, and JIS group as a whole, is also thinking of doing whatever they can and you can, so that the cloud that is surrounding us all around really gets cleared as fast as possible. And what I would, in fact, Professor Bhattacharya asked me that, do you plan to give us, something like PowerPoint, share screens and all? And let me tell you that I am personally, and I'm being emphatic in telling you this, I'm personally fed up with all these PowerPoint presentations right now. So what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to share with you some of my personal thoughts and whatever I have understood of the science of COVID, and whatever the responsibility that each of us could do in our own ways, in our very small ways, the way I am doing. And what I strongly believe right now is that, the more bigger science talks that we undertake today, the lesser the benefit to the people. I'll come to you in a bit greater detail why I say so. And let me start off by telling that right now it's really, we are not in a, and all of us know that we are really not in a very, very sort of happy scenario. And the fight with COVID, the COVID containment program has to be 50% within the hospital, and if not less, and 50% within the society. And I'll tell you why I say so, why I say that the larger ambit of society in which all of us belong. I know that some of you are management trainees or management teachers, some of you are in pharmaceutical sciences, some of you are in dental sciences, and the entire JIS conglomerate is that big. And I'm really, that's why I want to, open up the COVID scenario in a broader social ambit than what we are usually accustomed to. I'll tell you why I say so. So like right now, while I'm doing my government responsibilities, I'm behaving as a physician, I'm looking after my patients, I'm trying to frame in whatever way, contribute to framing the state's policy in COVID, in whatever forum I'm allowed to. But the most important activity where, and I find pleasure in doing this, which I'm associated with, is we have formed an organization named COVID Care Network. And it's basically again an NGO, which is a COVID winners and COVID associates forum. What I mean by COVID winners is the very word called COVID is bringing to us an absolute negative connotation. And the negative connotation is, we are in front of the television, all of us, and today is a lockdown day. And the lockdown days are one of the worst forms of days for people who keep on doing some work. And over the last 3 months of lockdown, we had been glued to the television set, and the newspapers were also not that frequent in reaching out to us. And what was happening is, we just keep on counting how many people are infected and how many people are dead. Okay, so it's only in Bengali we call it as a painful Chitragupter Khata. So it's like we keep on counting Chitragupter Khata and a broader infected and dead. In between, we had glimpses of people who are the unfortunate migrant laborers whom we coined as a separate entity, and we were shuddering to see their plights. And when they entered into our villages, some of us, became fearful that they would keep the villages into burns, they'd keep the localities into burns. But all of us had been proved fools. Fools because, why I say fools is, because we thought that these migrant laborers, when they're going to come to our villages, they're going to bring with them all the bad things that the universe had got for us. And all of us had been proven wrong. And let me tell you that these so-called migrant laborers, who are just like my brothers from my village, who went to outside the state in search of a job or something like that, they had gone through, they were placed in quarantine centers, and they had gone through a painful psychological circumstances, not that bad medical circumstances, and now they're COVID winners, and they're serving in many hospitals of the state at a time when many of us, I'm telling you, many of us are doing great job by being by the side of the people, but a fraction of us are really frightened whenever we see patients with COVID. We think that COVID is jumping around us, and it's given the fact that we medical people and we always have got a propensity to see the darker side of the coin faster than the brighter side of the coin. So what we do is, whenever we hear the term called COVID, we start thinking that COVID is equivalent to death. And that's the beginning of the end of the game. And what's happening is, and all of you know, that in many localities, people are not finding a medical personnel. Many of us are working from behind the internet, the way I'm talking to you today. And many of the people today are suffering because some of us have written that ekhane jor dekha hoy na. Some of us are really frightened to approach a person whenever the person, because all of us, and it's not unnatural. Let me tell you that I'm not telling all these are bad, all these are good. I'm nobody to judge good and bad things, but I'm just presenting to you what I'm seeing all around and making it, presenting this scenario to you to decide. So I, as a doctor, cannot really afford to do like that. I need to be guarded. I really need to be guarded. I really need to be cautious. I'm not telling that in a outcome of valor, in a sort of feat of tremendous love for the country and country's people, you forget all the cautionary things that are needed and you jump and embrace a person who is COVID infected. No, that's bad. That's foolish, and that should not be done. But at the same time, I really cannot afford to start, hiding myself in the corners of a house, which under some circumstances I am doing, unfortunately. And so my call to many of you who are, in the profession, in whatever position you are, please get rid of your unfounded, unscientific fears and myths, and don't dress up yourself in a way that also sends a message to the society that people who are the most enlightened, which many people look at us like, I am dressed up with many degrees and I am dressed up with many positions. I am thought of as one of those who belong to the upper echelons of society. So people in the villages, people who are not as fortunate as I am to have access to education, to have access to knowledge, to have access to all those social media forums, which are spreading more rumors and more unscientific myths than truths. So they don't have access to. So we are getting all these, and what we are doing is, we are getting confused, we are getting more fearful than scientifically driven, and we are hiding, some of us. I mean, I'm not telling that all of you, I'm just presenting to you a fraction of it, and we start hiding and we start dressing ourselves up. That's possibly not the right reaction that we should do. I'm again pleading to you. It's not, don't think that it's like a call to nation variety of thing that a maniac is presenting before you. Some of you may consider me as a maniac. because the way I'm telling to you may sound that as if I'm calling to do something, to you to do something which somebody should not do. Again, I emphasize that you should be scientifically guarded. You should wear masks. When you see my patients, the way I see my patients, I'm just sharing with you. I keep on seeing patients. Yesterday also I saw 80 patients. So, okay, I'm just telling you the numbers. So what I do is I put two masks. One is a non-N95 and another is a N95, okay? And after seeing a couple of patients, say 5-6 patients, I wash my hands. And I usually try to keep, I mentioned this, I usually try to keep a significant amount of distance when I talk to my patients. Say, for example, 5 to 6 feet, which the authorities have told. But I'm a GI physician. So a person comes to me with a problem, which is a pain abdomen. Can I afford not to touch his abdomen and try to see what's happening there? Not to do a physical examination? I cannot. Then I'm not doing justice. I'm in a fit to try to guard myself. I'm doing injustice to the person. Then it's better not to do. I don't believe that you can deliver to your patient everything by just talking from behind a video screen. You can go to some extent. Through a telemedicine window, you can give some guidances. You can give tele-recommendations. You can give some guidances. But if a person is having abdominal pain, or if a person is having some other problem, say for example, cardiac disease or a chest disease, you cannot really do everything from looking behind the window. So as a physician, I have to see my patients. You as a dental surgeon, you obviously cannot just say that I'm having some toothache or I'm having some fever, I cannot open my mouth, or I'm having some tooth ulcer, and you cannot say that you open your mouth from your video call and I'll just tell you what to do. I'm sorry, I'm not sure whether you can do that or not. There may be some excellent clinical people who can do that from that, but let me tell you, the primary reaction that comes to me, that people who does this are probably doing this as a suboptimal clinical venture rather than an optimal clinical venture. On the other hand, I'm not telling that you jump onto the neck of your patient and you don't guard yourself. Obviously, you need to guard yourself. Let me tell you that you cannot keep on wearing a PPE while looking after every patient. And again, I'm informing you that whenever, even today, again, you may look at me and think of me as if I'm providing some misinformation. I wear a PPE, but initial phases when I was going to the COVID wards, I was wearing a PPE. But many government hospitals don't have air-conditioned facilities. So on one day when I visited, at that point, Bangalore Hospital did not have a central air-conditioned facility, which they have right now for the physician's place and all, because air conditioning also makes COVID recirculating and everything. So after a couple of days of 2 or 3 days of wearing PPE, I was literally panting myself after a round for 2 hours or so when I went to see patients. And so what I decided is, I spoke to one of my infectious disease colleagues, who is one of the best persons fighting the COVID pandemic right now. He's working in infectious disease hospital, and many of you knows his name. His name is Yogi Rajla. He's fantastic. He's by the side of the patient. He cries when a patient is in we are proud that we have got physicians like that in our state. And he's one of the examples. He's valiant fighter in the COVID combat. So I asked Yogi Raj, what are you doing? Are you wearing this PPE all through the day? Because you are in the intensive care. So he told me very clear things, and that's what I'm following right now. So he told me, sir, whenever you are in a place where you have got a potential for aerosol generation, like say somebody is doing endoscopy, somebody is doing a fiber optic endoscopy, a bronchoscopy, or somebody is doing a ventilatory care, or I'm going within the intensive care, I'm wearing a PPE. But where I'm dealing with people who are less than that, or I'm not doing aerosol generating procedure, sir, please put 2 masks, wash your hands well, It's not like don't be paranoid in washing your hands. While I say so, I've seen many of my colleagues washing hands after seeing every patient, I'm telling you, you are going to get a fungal infection. I mean, I hope I'm clear as to what I'm trying to convey. What I'm trying to convey is you need to be guarded, but you don't need to be paranoid, and you don't need to be, batik grosso in Bengali. You cannot afford to do that. But you need to be guarded. So for that matter, what I keep on doing, as I'm telling you, many of the things that I'm telling you, somebody may think it's unscientific. You have got all freedom to do that. But it's my call today, so I'm sharing you what I keep on doing. So after 5 or 6 patients, I use some sanitizer. Many of the people in the country cannot afford a sanitizer. So for them, I keep on telling that use your soaps. Even a Lifebuoy soap or some of the soaps which are available. I'm just mentioning one of those. If somebody uses once every 2 hours, once you go out of the house and then come back to the house, use the soap and you get guarded. So use your soap, use your social distancing, use your mask very well. Mask. Again, I'm telling you, even today, I'm entering into COVID words wearing this one. And I'm wearing this shirt and pant only. And I have also got a family, let me tell you. So obviously, in the initial days, my wife was shouting that, put your clothes apart there in the corner of the house when you are entering. Get yourself bathed, and then you enter your house. And this is happening to all of you, I'm sure. And that's why I'm telling. But then, gradually, I was telling her that this is no science. It's not that I have gone into the COVID world. Every piece of my clothing is carrying a COVID virus. And if you start thinking that, you are going to go paranoid. I'm guarded, let me tell you. So right now, what I do is, and again, it's your decision. What I do is, again, I get masked. I use my sanitizers. I try to maintain social distancing, but I have to see my patient. Even when I visit the COVID wards, but I'm using the same shirt and pant. Some of you may use the surgical wears also. If you need to be cautious. I'm not telling you need to do what I am doing. You can wear the usual surgical braces. But what I wanted to convey is, don't be fussy about PPE. Why I'm telling is, let me tell you that those people who among many of the doctors are getting infected, and all of you know that unfortunately many of us are living. Many of them are leaving us. And all of us, got so much pain in seeing the photograph of the young doctor who died yesterday. And it's painful. And I'm really, I mean, so much pain and agony around that I don't say that you don't have reasons to not to be fearful. But, fear and panic are two different entities. Fear should lead us to guard. Okay, the word fear is really not the right word. Cautious and get guarded rather than fear and panic response. So what's happening is, even the doctor who died yesterday, he was really not doing COVID duty. I'm just sharing with you. And most of the doctors and the healthcare workers who are getting COVID from non-COVID circumstances. So many of you are involved in non-COVID management, okay, as a dental surgeon, as whatever social exposures you have. So some of you who are physicians, dental surgeons, my advice would be guarded whenever you see patients, but let not be fussy and let not drive away our patient. We need to see our patients. We need to see every patient that comes to us. We need to be available to them, and don't think that every patient is a potential enemy. Now, I come to the other thing. While working in the COVID care network, we are, we have got a crisis management team. What crisis is? Today, there are 2 varieties of crisis. One is a medical crisis. I'll come to that subsequently. The other is a social crisis. And all of us are in a great variety of social crisis. And the social crisis is generated from the fear-mongering, confusion generating, myth abound, and to some extent, media hounded. All of us are being hounded by, a lot of informations in the media. So many deaths, so many unfortunate deaths, so many deaths that pains all of us, and all negative inputs with some positive inputs media is providing. I'm not cursing media. So I've got many media friends. So I keep on telling them, Bhaiya, so much pain and agony all around. Please present before people all the brighter things. That because all of us have got our own ways of figuring out the bad things that are so many around us. But this is not happening. So what's happening is that we are staring at our colleague. We are staring at my neighbor who is getting COVID infected. And this is a painful society which we are living with. And it's very unfortunate that I have to share with you, the more the educated people are, the more the fear, the more the panic, the more the unexpected, I shouldn't call unsocial. I don't have the discourtesy to call it unsocial, but unfortunately, this is not what one should consider in a society. You have got all rights to guard yourself, but you have got no rights to adapt to the agony of another individual who has right now got COVID and has got no reason to infect, no way he's not infecting yourself. Say, for example, you have got a neighbor who has got COVID. Now, what's happening is, I'm telling you, at COVID Care Network, we have got a 24/7 helpline. It's not the government helpline, but ours is the NGO. So what's happening is we are getting phone calls. So one day I got a phone call and I phoned up one of the hospitals because the phone call was coming from a person who was trying to know the circumstances of a patient who is COVID and is admitted to a hospital. So I phoned up through my personal contacts to the hospital authorities, and he was trying to know how the patient is. Because later on, I got to know that the rumor was about that the person is dead. All these are happening in the society. So I phoned up to the hospital telling that this person is contacting us and trying to know how the patient is. And he claims that he is his nearest relative. Can you tell us? So now that person, as you know, we are all connected. He phoned me, I'll come back to you in 5 minutes. So he came back to me in 5 minutes. Told that just half an hour back, the patient's son had come to the hospital and has been briefed that the patient is well. Now, I phoned back to the person and who was calling and tried to know who you are. So he told, sir, I just wanted to know because, that person who is there in the hospital stays 2 houses apart from my house. So I was, he was trying to know whether he's dead or not. So why he was trying to know? Because he's frightened that 2 houses apart, that corona can jump onto and engulf his, household. So this is an unsocial reaction, antisocial reaction, which all of us who are educated should try to get rid of. I'm sharing with you 2 more circumstances which I would love to not to see again. So at COVID Care Network, as I told you, that we are rising up to circumstances whenever we are getting calls of social stigmas which are abound. So a couple of days back, I received a call from one of the posh apartments over the bypass. There was a West Bengal civil servant officer who is doing fantastic job in North Chobbish Parganas and is looking after safe homes. So she had COVID at that point of time. And unfortunately, her father died of COVID. And at that point, when she was ostracized, her father was fighting in the intensive care unit. And now she called us telling that, doctor, can you help me? We at COVID Care Network tell me what's happening. So she told that, a doctor, I emphasize a doctor, and who is a professor of a medical college, who stays just opposite to my flat, is telling me each time whenever I'm opening the door, that don't open your door, don't open your door, don't open your door. And the person who is telling is a professor in a medical college. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to demeaning my profession but I have got no way but to bring this before you so that some of you don't do the same thing. So we went to that locality. We went to that housing. And, we called the housing society people, secretary and all. We sat with them, tried to convince them, and most of them are very well placed. Professors, some of them are professors in many universities and all, and spoke to them. And some of them were forthcoming. But some of them, let me tell you, were again very deeply. And some of them were virtually arguing, telling, doctor, you're just telling us that, but can you tell me that this may not happen this way? I just told them that, let me tell you that we have heard of Lokhindarer Bashor Ghar. You cannot create a Lokhindarer Bashor Ghar and try to keep yourself guarded. Unfortunately, we, the most educated, the upper strata, those who have got degrees like us, some of us, we have got big degrees, and we think that we know everything in this world. Unfortunately, we are behaving in the most unscientific and most, the way we would not love to see people. So, but after that, what happened is, after our social engineering or whatever variety, this ostracization of that lady stopped. But let me tell you of another circumstances. So we got a similar call from a locality in Behala. Okay, it's opposite Behala Blind School, where the so-called, the scavengers of Kolkata Municipal Corporation stay. It's a small housing of 300 households. So we thought that we need to go there, because there was an infected person, and it's more than 14 days, and the person was off the hook. As you know, after 14 days, you don't need to be in home isolation or whatever variety, and you are told to be free of the hook, and you can roam around. So this group of this household was not being allowed to go to fetch water, to go to other places and do all these things. So we went there. So me and my colleagues, and COVID Care Network has got tremendous people. Like our secretary is the Everest winner, Shotorup Siddhanto. Some of you might be knowing his name. And our president is one of the cardiologists at AMRI. And we have got many people. Dev Shankar Haldar is one of our very strong. So he's, as you know, he's a theatre personality. So me, Shotorup, Dev Shankar, and all of us went to that Behala locality. So when that house was in the 3rd floor. So when I was rising up the stairs, a 3-4-year-old boy came and told, Kaku, upore jeo na, corona ache, Kaku, upore jeo na. Just remember what the society that we have created. So I just embraced him and told him, come along, one need to go upstairs. So he started crying. And when he started crying, his mother, his parents, and all the surroundings came. Don't do that. Upore corona ache, bachchatake niyon korben na. I'm like, fine. Let's go there. So we went there. Spoke to the immediate neighborhood, started talking, started telling that, either we allow them to fetch water, because science is that after 14 days, this person is not going to do any harm, or you take the responsibility as a mohalla to bring their bazaar, their water, and everything. And you need to understand that corona is not spread like that. Corona is not spread like jumping in the air. You need to maintain social distancing. So we tried to speak to them. And let me tell you, when we came down, there was a 300, 400 strong people from surrounding the locality. What the doctors have come, some people have come who wanted to talk to them. We also told that we want to talk to you. So we started talking, and let me tell you, some women folk came forward. Why I'm telling women is, they are the strongest motivators. Again, I'm telling you, if we can get the woman into the can I respond to a just a minute. So the women folk came and started telling You should not do that. You should not do that. And let me tell you that within half an hour, everything was clear. And those people who were hindering them, who were preventing, now came forth and told, Toda upore thak, amra toder dekhbhal korbo. Now I'm told that they should not stay up because it's high time that they should be allowed to move. So we told them the principles. So the difficulty that we faced in the urban, posh, educated, well-to-do locality was really not evident. Some of you may argue that, you befooled the illiterate people. But let me tell you, it's not something like that. It's not like befooling the illiterate. Somehow we, the educated, the upper strata of the society, have got so much asymmetric and so much information load, many of which are unscientific, that we have got confused. And we are behaving in an absolutely unscientific, myth-driven way, trying to hide. And let me tell you, by hiding in the corner of your house, you cannot save yourself. On the other hand, I'm not telling that you go to the bazaar and start behaving the way. You go to the theater, you start behaving the way. It's also our responsibility. While we say that COVID is not spread that way, it's also our responsibility. It's also our responsibility that we say that we need to not to go to the and spend that much time in the bazaar or the locality. And all of us are sitting here, need to tell. Let me tell you that smoking is not visible right now in public. And you ask yourself how that happened. It happened over a span of 10 years. And COVID has come to us all like a fire. And that's why we are all taken aback, and we are not being aroused to the combat that we could have given. Public health emergencies cannot be dealt with by just spreading fear and panic. Cigarette smoking, when somebody smokes in the public, he or she is told that please go to your own place and smoke it there. Even the child smokes. Nobody smokes in the train today. Why? You ask yourself. It's our responsibility when we see somebody not wearing a mask, when we see somebody not maintaining social distancing, to be very humble and go and tell that, Dada, let's for a couple of days or for a couple of months, let's behave in a way that is probably beneficial for you or beneficial for us. Some of us, let me tell you that some of these people, maybe, as you know, people are different in personality. Some of you may start arguing with you. This has happened to me. And I'm sure many of you would face this. When you don't be imposing. Try to be humble in putting forth it's all of our responsibility in telling that we are really not off the hook. We are all living under the COVID cloud. Government has allowed us to be unlocked because our economy was suffering. But that does not mean that COVID is gone. COVID is all up, up, up. So please don't behave in a irresponsible, don't use a term called irresponsible. Try to behave in a more responsive way. And the more responsive way is to use the masks, is to use your hands, because what I'm telling is, you are educated and people of your locality knows a word of your mouth carries a lot of weight. And let me tell you that when you tell this to one person at some weak point, because everybody is thinking now, this is going to be multiplied into 10 people, if not to 100 people. So it's our responsibility not to get fearful, not to be panicky, not to shy away from our patients, all of you who are doctors, not to, try to guard ourselves in an unscientific, fearful way, and also to, tell when we see in a very humble way that we need to behave in the guarded way. On the other hand, let me tell you what the science of COVID right now is, what the science of COVID management right now is. 85% of people who are COVID infected are asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. What I mean by asymptomatic and mildly symptomatic, asymptomatic is asymptomatic, no symptoms, detected to have COVID when some of the family members had infection and then tasted. Okay, so these people and those people who have got a mild flu-like illness like sore throat or some fever for 1 or 2 days, or say for example some cough or something like that for 2 to 3 days, these people can be managed and should be managed at home if they have got more than 1 or 2 houses, or I mean flats within the house, more than 1 or 2 rooms in the house, and separate bathroom. If you don't have, then there are facilities called safe homes, which are in every locality almost right now. I'm not sure of every locality, but in many localities. If it is not in your locality, it's your responsibility to talk to your municipality or to the government authorities to start a safe home, because many poor people will not have more than 1 rooms in the house. So for them, it's good to take them to safe homes. And let me tell you, let's not use the term called lifted. Okay, tule niye geche. এই যে তুলে নিয়ে গেছে word, this is also fear generating. Let's use the term that person has gone to a safe home. Why we say safe home is there you don't have, you don't need a ventilator. Safe homes will not have a ventilator. And safe homes are people who could have been managed at home. Like 85% of people can be managed like that. They can be managed of 14 days of home isolation. What you need to do is in home isolation is you need to get yourself confined. You need to, keep reading books or do whatever it is within your room. Your toilet should be different. Your foods, your household members should bring and keep it at your doorstep. And you should wash your utensils. You should have a place to wash your utensils also. And keep it at the doorstep, then they will take it away. You should also keep your members of your family also intact. They should be wearing double mask and something like that. We can maintain that. Those people who have got more than 2 rooms, you should have a pulse oximeter. But let me tell you why I say pulse oximeter is, if your pulse oximeter shows your oxygen saturation is more than 94 or 95, then you are fairly safe. But don't, put your pulse oximeter all through your day on your, this is something like a panic reaction. Many of us are doing. Like we are, and all the pulse oximeters in the market are almost gone. And some of us have grabbed oxygen cylinders also. This is foolish. I emphasize the term called foolish, because if you need oxygen, then you cannot maintain your oxygenation at home, let me tell you. Because 1 cylinder of oxygen can do nothing to you, because the oxygen requirement of a person with COVID who really needs it would be something like 6, 7, 8 liters, to that extent, 10 liters or something like that. You may be needing to go to the hospital. So please don't grab hold of the oxygen cylinders from the market. It's like putting in a monkey cap in winter days. I keep on telling you, it's a symbol of many of us that we wear a t-shirt and we have got a monkey cap. And that's a symbol. I very, very in a sense of miming, I say that by looking at the monkey cap, you can identify a Bengali who has gone to a place to travel in a winter days, because that's widespread in amongst us. So it's like, putting an oxygen cylinder is like putting in a monkey cap in your house. You need a pulse oximeter and a thermometer. So, but put your thermometer, say, for twice a day. If you don't have fever, you know that you feel febrile. You can note your temperature, you note your pulse oximeter twice a day or thrice a day. If you have got a drop, then you contact your hospital, you contact your doctor, you contact your healthcare facility, you tell your family members, you need to go to if you have got a drop, which is rapid, like 94, then 80, 90, then say, for example, 88, you need to go to a hospital. So you're monitoring. Those of you who are educated, you can monitor yourself. But again, don't start getting panicky that, hey, my oxygen saturation is going down like that. And so I need to immediately grab hold of the hospital bed. No, don't feel panicky. There is time. Again, I'm telling you, there are exceptions to what I'm telling you. There are many most unfortunate, agonizing, painful, heart-throbbing deaths that are happening all on a sudden. But let me tell you, let's not talk of the accidents which always keep on shaking us. We are all really So unfortunately, many young people are leaving us. Many people are leaving us with accidents. Couple of days back, we heard of a young civil servant who died all on a sudden while on home isolation. But that should not allow us, we should not make accidents or incidences. 85% of people can be maintained in home isolation or in a safe home. So while this is the rule, a segment of people, say for example, somebody who is running fever for more than 3-4 days at home, some of the people who is not feeling well, some of the people, for whatever reason, even if you're anxious, personality is your own entity. Some people may say that I'm not feeling secure at home. I would try to counsel you. We at COVID Care Network, we have got a helpline number. If you want to give, I'll share that with Professor Bhattacharya. You can get it from him. And you can contact our counselors. They're all doctors. And interestingly, and that's the best part of it, let me tell you that at COVID Care Network, the people who are behind the line are mostly, 4th year, 5th year, and house staffs, interns, and they are doing brilliant job. And I really feel myself proud, and I wish another birth as a doctor, because I'm seeing so many brilliant young guys beaming with joy in doing this service. And they are jumping on my neck telling, sir, this person is in distress. How can we help us? So, sharing is so much in our society. We need to make this an infectious disease. This is all of our responsibility. And let me tell you that dental surgeons, many of them are dental surgeons. And we have got a Shiliguri wing also. In Shiliguri, one of our earliest COVID winners was a dental surgeon. Some of them may be knowing him. His name is Onitban. So he was one of those around whom we started forming the COVID Care Network Shiliguri chapter. And so, he is, and there are many other dental surgeons. I'm just telling Onitban's name because I know him. But I'm sure many of you are there. And I would invite all of you to join COVID Care Network, because this is your network. This is like a agun legeche bone bone. If all of us start thinking, I need to be by the side of the people in distress. People are in deep distress. And please don't hide in the corner of your house. Try to be by the side of the people who are in distress in the society. So your responsibility as a social being would be to try to, do whatever you can through whatever forums. A very important role that you can play is in your locality, there will be many clubs. And let me tell you, these club guys were the people who used to stand by the side of the people of the locality when they were having, some physical trouble, take them to hospital. Even in the event of death, they used to take them to the Shoshan and all these things. Unfortunately, many of them have disappeared. And this disappearance is purely out of fear. It's our responsibility. And we are trying that through COVID Care Network. And let me tell you that a couple of days back in one of the prominent localities near Calcutta, I'm telling Boranagar. Boranagar is really in deep carpet of fear and infection. So I tried to, talk to the clubs there. But let me tell you that I'm still, struggling. There are very prominent 30, 40 years old clubs. It's not like a Kali Pujo doing club. They are all cultural clubs who have been doing great activities for long. But when I talk of COVID, they're really, not that upbeat as one would have loved to have. I told them that, why don't you come forward and try to look after your people's locality? Try to figure out who are COVID infected in your locality. Why I did this is, in Boranagar, one of my known to persons, he phoned me up. He's a COVID winner. So as I'm looking for COVID winners all around, I told him, hey, you start doing the Boranagar chapter of COVID Care Network. We need to do some activity in Boranagar in fear elimination and social integration. And we will have seminars, we will have Zoom meetings and all. You take the lead. So he told me, and this is for many of you may be true, he told me that, sir, I'm very sorry. Please don't tell me to do anything in Boranagar. They will know. Nobody knows that I have got COVID. Please tell me to do something beyond Shambaja. I'm ready to do. Just imagine. This person is an income tax employee. He is bright. He is good. He is ready to do, but he is not ready to do in his locality. Out of a non-supportive community. And that's non-supportive community all of us have created. And many of us Or what we are doing is, whenever we are hearing that somebody has got COVID in my locality, I'm going to my councillor, I'm going to the thana and telling the police people, ওই বাড়িতে একটা কোভিড আছে, ওকে আপনি এক্ষুনি তুলে নিয়ে যান, যেন ওই বাড়িতে একটা মরা আছে, ওটাকে না সরালে এক্ষুনি গন্ধ বেরোবে। Is this the thing that we should do? Is this how we educated should react? It's absolute unscientific and myth-driven and harmful. So please think around this, talk to your localities, be upbeat in bringing the social flavor that our society was so much, we as a society were so much proud of, and we can do a lot within the society. So our primary responsibility, all of you who are here listening to this webinar, would be to talk more of COVID. Whenever I've got COVID, like say Amit Shah had COVID and he proudly announced, or unfortunately he had COVID, but he announced that I've got COVID. Say for example, Amitabh Bachchan had COVID. So when I think that it's good that big people have got COVID. All of us would come back and say that COVID is a democratic virus. It does not scare anybody. And it's not your misfortune that you have got COVID. And more of the prominent people will have COVID and would come forth and say, hey, I've got COVID and I've come out of the fire. More and more, down under the streets, people would start thinking that this is nothing great job and we can still get out of it. While this is there, let me tell to you and all of you, given the fact that many of you are, significantly educated, would love to know what's happening in the scientific front. So 2 fronts, I'll before I finish, I've talked to you for around an hour. I'll take some of your questions, but that I'll tell you why I intentionally avoided the medical front is there are not much beyond oxygen therapy and early steroid therapy that's happening in the medical front. And that's why very important thing is people who are comorbids, say for example, uncontrolled diabetes, any minimum amount of turbulence in them should incite the desire to get tested. Out of fear, out of a non-supportive society, out of all these propaganda that is around us, what's happening is people are having fever for 7-8 days and they're not getting tested, and that person have got a liver disease, kidney disease, or say uncontrolled diabetes. So after 8 days, when that person is getting tested and tested positive, he or she is coming to a hospital. Most of the deaths that are happening is in this comorbid lot. Although there are some unfortunate, 20% unfortunate young deaths, but 80% are these people. So don't take this on the other hand that I'm a comorbid, that's why I'm going. Don't start thinking like that. I'm elderly, I'm 61 years old. That does not mean that so I know when somebody tells me that you are jumping around, if you get my family members also say, what will happen? I say that I'm prepared, that I'll have COVID at some point and I'll lie down for 14 days and then start jumping again and start talking the same thing again. Unless you get dressed up with this thought, you cannot survive, because again I'm telling you, COVID is a democratic virus and you don't know what all are the ways you should be guarded. Again, I'm not telling you embrace COVID, you should be guarded, but you don't need to be paranoid and fearful and panicky and shy away from circumstances. In medical front, that's what I was telling, the best thing that can happen is if a person have got particularly comorbid people and all those people, elderly, 70 years above and comorbids, they should get early testing. And if you have got hypoxemia and all this, you should early get hospitalized. And because again, I'm telling you, comorbids, hypoxemics, SpO2 by pulse oximeter can tell us by getting because oxygen early can break the chain of events that leads to all the bad things that happen in COVID. So if you can get a person triaged early, hospitalized early, start oxygen therapy early, adequately given oxygen, then that person, then the entire bad things that can happen, like heart disease that happens in COVID, the renal disease that happens in COVID, and there are other inflammatory things that happen. Hypoxemia is the beginner. So at the cellular level, hypoxemia sets in motion the chains of events that finally leads to a bad outcome. So, and the elderly and comorbids are the worst sufferers. So oxygen is the therapy, not your oxygen cylinder at home. It's in the hospital, let me tell you. The other therapy that often helps is dexamethasone, that has got some evidence. There are some antiviral drugs that are also available, but let me tell you that that's in a very small subset, and some benefits, not saving life, diminishing the stay in the hospital. There is significant enthusiasm around plasma therapy, and let me tell you that in West Bengal also plasma therapy initial responses are promising, but it's not for everybody, and plasma therapy is still under experimental mode, and so that's another modality. Beyond these, I think it's all other things that are being given. I mean, there is no specific drug available as of now that you can claim and that you can say that this does wonders. So let's be prepared that there is no specific drug for COVID as of now. We wish we'll have one tomorrow. We have got oxygen and other things which are available, which hospital can give. And now the important thing that you are looking for, and I wish all of us get, is vaccine. There is tremendous global efforts for vaccine development. But again, let me tell you that vaccine developed and vaccine delivered and vaccine availability is not really a mathematical thing. So let's hope that a vaccine will be available to us sometime in October, November, or December, say, for example. But again, let me tell you that let's not think that that's going to be a panacea, that's going to be a magic stick that's going to get us through. The only thing that gets us through is by protecting us, by obeying the standard rules of masking ourselves, of safe distancing, social distancing or physical distancing, of hand washing and all these, and not hiding in the corner of a house, not getting panicky. Community preparedness is very important. Taking care of your neighbor who has got COVID with a warm phone call also. Dada kemon achen? Believe me, this can do wonders. And the amount of stress that these people who are COVID infected are tremendous. And if you give a phone call, Dada kono chinta nei, ami apnar pashe achi. I'm telling you, his well-being will tremendously improve. And well-being cannot be mathematical. SpO2 does not measure everything. And many of us are in deep depression, and we are not counting those. And post, COVID, psychological morbidity is going to go a big way. And I'm a GI physician, I'm getting many people who are coming to us with a lot of GI troubles, which are basically anxiety generated. Everybody is trembling in fear. And as you know, our tummy is a very important convergence point for all of our thoughts. So I'm getting a lot of people who are just coming with increased diarrhea, increased constipation and all these. And it's all because of anxiety, depression and all these. So what I wanted to tell you is, before I finish, that all of us have somehow forgotten that we live in a society. Again, I'm pleading before you. All of us are behaving as an individual who is disconnected from the surroundings. We are thinking that I can live alone. So let's go back to that live and let live slogan. Instead of trying to live alone, call up your neighbor very boldly. Try to talk to your clubs. Try to talk to your teachers are very important opinion builders. Build the opinions in the community. Have a COVID facility safe home in your locality. And say having a COVID safe home in your locality does not mean that COVID is going to jump to your household. আমার এলাকায় কোভিডের হাসপাতাল হলেই আমার সর্বনাশ হয়ে যাবে, এই ভাবনার থেকে সবাইকে বার করুন দয়া করে। তা না হলে কিন্তু হবে না, কারণ ইনফেকশন রেট বাড়বে, বহু মানুষকে বাড়িতে থাকার জায়গা পাবেন না। ভারতবর্ষে 2টো রুম আছে, এরকম মানুষের সংখ্যা খুব বেশি নয়। So it's our responsibility to create more and more safe homes where there will be a doctor coming and say hello. There will be an oxygen availability. There will be an ambulance availability for the carriage for you, but you will just lie for 14 days in that safe home and talk to other people and just spend some time. So that's the 80%, 85% people, and for 15% people or 10% people, we have got the hospital. And let me tell you that hospital, if the mild and asymptomatic people go to hospital, people who are breathless and who really need a hospital may not get a hospital bed. And many circumstances, this is happening. So this is the overall scenario. And before I end, I again request all of you to think it in a scientific way, not get guided by the social media, bursts that keep on jumping. Please don't share the negative, bright informations that arouse us and tell that so bad, so bad, so bad. And immediately I share with 10 people. That, কত খারাপ, কত খারাপ। আবারও বলছি, পৃথিবীতে দুঃখ অনেক আছে এই মুহূর্তে। দুঃখের শালতামামিতে ঢুকে, দুঃখের অঙ্ক কষে, none of us are going to thrive. Let's think bright and let's start thinking. আজিয়ে প্রভাতে রবির কর, কেমনে পশিল প্রাণের পর, কেমনে পশিল গুহার আঁধারে প্রভাত পাখির গান। This is what Rabindranath Tagore wrote years back, decades back. But let me tell you, time is right now that we start thinking the song of the nightingale in the cave. Otherwise, we cannot. We in a dark cave. We are all in a dark cave. Well, let's try to find out the sun rays within the dark cave, peeping in, jumping in, and it's all of our responsibility. Otherwise, we are really not going to live well ourselves and not really going to do justice to the ambient society that all of us are around. And I'm sure JS Group, with its significant social contributions and social venture, is going to make inroads and going to contribute a long way in this venture with so many of you around and with such great leaders like Mr. Singh, Mr. Taranjit Singh, and I was fortunate to have been see his father when he was unwell, and I still remember and I know the great contribution that he also had, and he brought this the great institution that it is today. So before I end, I thank you all for your hearing, and you gave me an opportunity to tell you all the you consider it as a garbage heaped on you. It's like that only. You consider this as a thought heaped on you. It's like that only. I talk to you all my thoughts, and these are my personal thoughts with whatever social and scientific understanding that I have gathered. Some of you may not agree, but that's what I had to share with you. I'm again grateful to you and JS Group for this great opportunity. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. It is inspiration heaped on us, I think. After this session, if we do not come forward, I think we are doing a disservice to the society. We are guided by your wonderful words of wisdom. And as you said, sir, JIS Group has been in the forefront of coming to the social commitments. From a scientific point of view, there have been a few questions, sir, that is this airborne of the virus and its capabilities? So would you like to share your thoughts about how much does it remain, or what is the potential that can happen in a closed environment, considering the recent?
A great question, because this is what had been around all of us a couple of days back. 238 scientists wrote to WHO, and have you observed that that ripple that it created had disappeared? Why it disappeared? Because it could not stand the test of time. What's happening is, we scientists often are so possessive of the great discovery. All of us are trying to be relevant right now. It's good to be relevant, but good to be relevant with our ideas that help people's well-being. Let me tell you, I'm very clear. If you have got a discovery that tells that COVID is all bad, 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 I say, my scientific friends, that please keep your great discovery to your Almira right now. People, I have got so much agony, so much distress, that don't bring this to us. I strongly wish to say that these are all, irrelevant science, even if there is truth in it. Why it's irrelevant? That I am very clear. If I am erring on the side of hiding that science within a black box, I would love to do that. I need to guard my people with all warmth, all good wishes, all social support, all medical support right now. And telling a person, telling a society which is trembling in fear that you can get COVID jumping in the air onto you, what great service I'm doing. Personally, I don't believe whatever small scientific understanding as I have, and I spoke to the chief scientist of WHO, Soumya Swaminathan, after this discovery also, whom I know through my personal level. She also told me that we are not reacting because, WHO, as you know, had been caught in a very bad political fire. So they are not reacting these days to that extent that they were doing initially. So they didn't react. But so everybody have got, freedom to heap the scientific discoveries that they have got. Personally, I don't believe, and I'm just mentioning to you the chief scientist WHO's impressions also. Let's forget and let's not believe. Let's not give any place in our mindset that it spreads in the air.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Richie, are there any further questions from anyone?
Yes, sir. There are few questions, sir. Regarding this, sir, HCQ prophylaxis for health professionals, sir, should we compulsorily take the prophylaxis, sir? What is your opinion?
I can say my personal opinion. I am a government servant, and government of India and government of West Bengal has advised you. But let me tell you, I am in the grounds on COVID, and I have not taken hydroxychloroquine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All that I can say.
Dr. Richie, we are having with us our honorable director, sir.
Yes,
and
sir.
MD, sir, also.
Okay.
So I'll invite them to ask to unmute themselves. Okay, so I'm giving them unmute. So over to you, copy.
Yes.
I think MD sir is unmuted, sir.
Yes.
Welcome, sir. Would you like to say a few words, sir?
No, thank you, sir. Thanks to everybody. They are listening this thing. Very good session, this one. Bangla बोलते हैं बहुत अच्छा session था sir जी. This is a very good session. I will give the thanks, or I will request to the Doctor Chaudhury, please এটাকে ওই বানিয়ে না একটা করে এটাকে ভ্যাকসিন সার্কুলেশন করে দিতে very good guidelines to the all the people.
Sure, sir. I will.
ওটাকে তুমি একটা ওই মানে পুরো পয়েন্টগুলোটাকে একটা ডিলিট করে স্যারকে দেখিয়ে তুমি এটাকে হাইলাইটিং করে সবাইকে পাঠিয়ে দাও ভ্যাকসিন সব টিচারদের বাচ্চাদের আর পুরো সোসাইটি দিস ইজ ভেরি গুড পয়েন্ট ইজ উইদিন দিস আমি পুরোটা সেটা শুনলাম তো এটা পাবলিকের জন্য দিস ইজ ভেরি গুড মেসেজ আর দে উইল থিংক ইন দিস যতটা প্রচার করা যায়
Sure, sir.
হ্যাঁ
Thank you, sir.
যতটা যায় আর স্যার থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ. You have come here and given the good session to the all our boys and teachers and every our family members. Thanks for a lot to you. This is my son. You want to say something?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you so much for the lovely session today. It was really an eye-opener for all of us, especially me. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think, are there any further questions, Dr. Richie? Or I think,
Sir, there are a lot of questions. Just one
no,
more, sir.
I think sir has answered most of it. If
Yes,
there are
most
anything,
of them sir has already answered.
No, I got a question, and I want to pick this up. That somebody wanted to how to bring a COVID active force. So I'm going to let me tell you that we would be glad to get anybody who wants to join COVID care network. Like we are looking for activists, like doctors, dental surgeons, even management people. The management people are going to be great use for all of us. We are planning to start a comorbid care framework also, and your thoughts, how to shape it would be great. So I'll share the COVID care network details with Professor Bhattacharya and
Sure,
with
sir.
Mr. Singh also. So it would be great if in any of you would love to join it, and Professor Bhattacharya might be knowing Anirban. So Anirban
yes,
from
sir. So Anirban happens to be my student at one point of time.
Oh, great. So yeah, so Anirban is one of our lead person, and so you can Anirban can also be roped in this, and we would love to get get Jazz Group join us in whatever way possible, because Jazz Group has got a social standing of great, and so I mean we are trying to rope together, create an umbrella, to talk to the society, that the society is all with you. So it's not like we are hiding in corner. All of us are on the streets, and all of us are going to, be by the side of the youth. So COVID Care Network is just like a civil society organization, which is all of your organization, and you're all welcome to join us in whatever forum, whatever way you can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it has been a wonderful session, sir. And with your words of wisdom, I hope we get adequate number of people who can join. Sir, if you kindly share the number, then it will be, I can pass it on to everyone. And as we sign off, sir, from the GIS group, I once again express my deepest thanks and gratitude for your valuable time. And so that we can have any opportunity, we'll again reach out to you, sir, for your advice. Thank you so much, sir. With your permission, we are closing the meeting.